Hello and welcome, travelers. This is Preston, and now I am Lord of this, the digital soundscape. You may be wondering why it is me hosting, and as we get to our guests, you'll kind of figure it out. But, as I like to say, this is my show, gosh darn. It's a joke for all you Miranda Goes Outside fans who just love REI for some reason. All right. This is Draft Punks, the show where we make a list about whatever we damn well please. I'm here with my co-host of late, Ryan Stabell.
Yes, I am here.
Thank you for being here, Ryan. And
Thank you for having me,
all
Preston.
of the videos. And we're joined by some hosts in their own right and fellow PAX goers, which is our topic of the day. It's Bob Buel.
That's me. I'm one of those. I'm a PAX goer and a guest. Thank you for having me.
PAX goer, host of his own show, 99 Questions with Bob Buel.
That's the name of it, baby. Too many questions, one might say.
And we're also joined by Jacob McCourt.
Hi, thank you for having me. I like video games. Bob, what happened to the 100th question? That's what I need to know.
It was a litigation thing. I had to take it down.
I get it.
I'm going to blame the fat cats in Washington, Jacob.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Isn't Preston from Washington?
Oh, no. Oh, no. I passed the legislature.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being on. I think a lot of our things at PAX, which is our topic again, will be a crossover between the four of us because, Bob, we got some time together at PAX. And as a fellow first-time media badge person and as a representative of 99 Questions with Bob Buel, overall, how was your time at PAX for the first time having a media badge?
First off, let me just say, media badge, would recommend. So cool. Great flex immediately. As soon as I got in line and had to scan in, they were like, oh, I'm sorry, you're with the media. Oh, right this way, sir. And they brought me to its own separate line. And I was like, oh, well, I wouldn't call what I do media, but sure. I guess technically that's what I generous. Am. And literally it's just carte blanche to all of PAX. It's a beautiful thing. And it was such a lovely, lovely time. I only got to spend 2 days there, Thursday and Friday, but still unreal. I packed my days with way too much demos and interviews and talking to everyone and shopping and food and drinks and all sorts of merriment in all directions. And it's just a wonderful time.
Yeah. And Bob, I think we realized that it wasn't so much a mistake because we had some really great conversations, but the fact that we put all of our interviews just an hour after each other, it feels like it's just not nearly enough time, even if you aren't making videos in the moment or you're not recording things. You're trying to figure out your thoughts. And then it's the next booth, you have no idea where it is. It's some, indie studio where you're going to have to line up the name of the game with the name of the studio, which isn't always on the invitation. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have to figure that out with the booth number on the map. And it's kind of chaos. It's fun chaos, but it's
absolute chaos. I've been to New York Comic Con, and they have, much like New York, they have a grid system. You know where you are on the show floor via the grid system. This place, it's oh, you're at booth 2000? Oh, find booth 2001. Betcha you can't. Because it's not next to it. I can tell you that much. Yeah. Literally one interview I had was with the folks at Bread and Fred. Sorry, the folks at Bread and Fred. Sounds like a fantastic game. Looks like a fantastic game. I couldn't find your booth. I looked at my emails later. It turns out you were at an adjoining hotel because you didn't even have a booth.
Oh, no.
So, sorry I no-showed. I deeply apologize, but that's just part of the chaos of PAX. But it's a beautiful chaos, It's like a rose? I don't know. In editing, add a better analogy here.
Yeah.
Could you do that?
Insert analogy.
Mm-hmm. Bob, here's a fun thing. I also messed up my literal Bread and Fred appointment in that I went with a colleague of mine who also is part of our podcast, and she and I booked back to back, or we booked the same time slot.
Oh.
But the PR person was like, "Oh, they're booking 2 time slots. They'll need an hour." So essentially, we were there for 30 and had booked other things, and they're like, "You have an hour." So we felt guilty. We're like, "Oh no, we have to stay longer." And so we missed one of the panels that we were going to go to because we just felt like we needed to stay longer. That's weird. We both screwed up Bread and Fred. Good game, though.
Damn it, Brett. Yeah,
Looks really cool.
And again, the perfect game to screw up because, like, man, is that a punishing game whenever you do screw up if either person does. It's a wonderful game. Not on my list, but it's a good one. Jacob, host of Left Behind Game Club, Cutscenes, a video game movie podcast, and video game trivia. I should say co-host as well. Of course, you have other hosts with you. You hosted 2 panels, and I think you were on a third.
Yeah. I just hate my spare time, and I also like hate my time at PAX. I was just like, what can I cram in here? So I did all the things.
And
no,
you
it
were
was
doing
super
media
wild.
Interviews?
And I was doing media interviews. So I was got reminiscent there because it's only my second time having media at a PAX before. And the first time I literally did like 12 appointments in a day. We got this. Never again. This time I learned my lesson. I'm like, maximum 3-ish appointments in a day, and that way I can walk around and, sometimes maybe drop the media badge and be like, "Hello, I'd like to check out your game," and then you get a somewhat little like experience with it. But hosting 2 panels in a day was the first time I've ever done that, and that was a lot. But I'm really privileged because like not 0 people showed up to either, and it was super fun. And those are available by the time you hear this. Those will be out online. So. And y'all were in the room for one of them.
Yes. I think Ryan went to both.
I
went to video game trivia.
Yeah. What? I get tunnel vision, so I'm just like, who is here? It's not 0 people.
Oh,
great.
Yeah, and again, like for video game trivia, it was a full conference room, at least from what I saw. And so, I mean, whenever y'all did the line and you came up at the beginning, and we'll get to this at some point, I'm sure, it was like, if you're in line now and you're at the beginning of this line, chances are you will not make it back to the front of this line again. And it was totally right. I mean, there was no way that someone was going to be able to answer twice, which, I mean, worked great for, setting expectations.
People like participating in things. So I love being up front in panel descriptions because I don't know if y'all have had this. This is my 9th PAX that I went to. And I have a story from back in the day, and I will not disparage anyone, but I went to a panel a couple PAXs ago where the description was, we're going to talk about video game music. It was actually that. And got in there, and it was a creator who is, somewhat prominent. And they were like, I didn't really prepare anything, so like, let's just do a Q&A. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. So since then, I've said I will have my descriptions be accurate. And even if I want to change it later, I'm sticking to the description because some people like live and die by that description.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely one of the most important things you can do for a crowd is set expectations and a game plan for the rest of the show.
Yeah. If they want to leave 1 minute in, like I will be like, yes, if this is not what you thought it was, I set expectations. Please do not waste 59 more minutes of your time. Life is short.
Yeah.
Don't hear me talk about Crytek developed video games for an hour.
Yeah. But speaking of expectations, Ryan, what can the listeners expect when it comes to a draft-based? How does this show work?
Well, Preston, you see, Draft Punks is a show where we snake draft random topics that interest us and our guests. In a snake draft, each team has 1 pick per round, and the picks go in a specific predetermined order. After the round is over, the following round is in the reverse order of the previous round. So if you pick first in an odd-numbered round, you pick last in an even-numbered round.
Now, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong here. In a snake draft, after each round, everyone has to make the sound of a snake. That's correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Making sure.
Which is, as someone with a pet snake, silence. Let me. They make
we'll see
no
about that
noise.
at the end of the first round.
It's clearly not a rattlesnake then. You need to get a pet rattlesnake.
I don't think that's a good decision.
Or give it a toy rattle so it can feel like one of its own.
Just tied onto its tail.
that
I
would
think
be
that's not cruelty. Tonight's episode is focused around our trip to PAX, hence why it is the 4 of us. I was the only punk to be able to make it to the show, so figured what better guests to have than my friends here who all went to PAX with me. To be clear, we are able to talk about anything from PAX. It does not have to be video games. It can be a certain cosplay, an interaction, a panel, or, of course, video games. Every episode, we let our community vote on who created the best list in the previous episode. However, episodes been real weird lately. So again, we are going to just create a randomized list. Our order for the evening is 3, that is Bob. 2, that is Ryan. 4, that is Jacob. 1, that is me. So I will be going last. We'll be starting with Bob, then Ryan, then Jacob, then me.
The pressure.
Bob,
My goodness.
what is the overall, out of all picks, best thing at PAX?
Oh boy. Well, this was for me, all right? Because I can only speak for me. I'm just a boy, and I can only speak on my time in City of Brotherly Love, Boston, as they call it. On Friday, because I was only there 2 days. On Friday, I did a good amount of shopping, walking the floor, doing some shopping, and I found a little booth that somehow had completely missed me the day before, that was selling video game vinyl records. Vinyl record
Are you kidding?
soundtrack games. No, it was like right when you went down the main escalator, all the way to the left, like the first booth, hard left, all against the wall. And from there, I made 2 purchases, which are going to be my number 1 draft pick. If I can allow 2 purchases for 1 draft pick.
Nope.
It is the Mega Man Legends 2 vinyl soundtrack with an absolutely adorable cover of Roll and the monkey Data having breakfast. All hand claymated, by the way. And truly what is my number 1 draft pick, one of the best games of all time, Phantasy Star 4 for the Sega Genesis. One of my top 10 games of all time. The vinyl soundtrack to it with an art book inside and a nice little essay written about the game. I pre-purchased this vinyl about 6 months ago, and it was supposed to come out about 4 months ago, and then the date just changed to no shipping date, and was just like knocked off the map, and who knows when I'll ever get it. So walking through PAX and finding this on the wall for $10 cheaper than I pre-ordered it for, I might add. I canceled my pre-order on my phone while I was in line to purchase this and brought it home, and I am so happy. All is right with the world when Phantasy Star 4 is around. So my number 1 draft pick is that video game vinyl booth all the way on the left. I wish I had their name at PAX.
Bob, for the listeners at home, can you hold that record up to the camera?
For the listeners?
Right there. Hold on. Let's we can get a nice sound of the paper here.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Listeners gonna love it. What would you say is one of the top songs off of that vinyl that I can just slip in here somewhere?
Rycross Field off side D is excellent. Take Off Landau if you're looking for an actiony pack. I mean, Field Motavia is just classic. That's classic good elevator right there. But you got the art book. It's all there. It's all there. It's a
That is
beautiful
really
thing.
cool that it comes with the art book on the inside too.
It's only about like 4 or 5 pages in there, but come on. It's a gorgeous thing.
Do you mind me asking how much were they?
I think $40 pop.
That's not bad. That is
Really not
at
that
all.
bad.
Especially whenever you're shipping and handling for like delicate stuff for a vinyl.
Exactly.
You're going to be paying quite a pricey little bit of extra if you're getting it online.
Yeah. So well worth the purchase there.
Jacob, did you see this vinyl?
No, and I wanted to like type up and be like, who is the vendor? I want to find out who that was, but my keyboard's so loud that I didn't want to be that guy on a podcast.
Well, we've got, I'll put it in the show notes for any of these vendors that we see. But yeah, a vinyl I don't know how I missed this final booth because I definitely would have walked away. I was telling Ryan, I walked away spending no money at PAX. I have no idea how I did it. I went into there fully. I mean, I immediately came home and bought a capture card. So like the money I saved was immediately wasted, but I walked away without spending money. I absolutely would have just poured my wallet open for some vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they had a lot of them. I believe it was either, looking at the show floor map, Video Games New York or VGNY Soft.
Mhm.
Don't know if they're the same company or not, but that was the booth where I found them.
I think it was one side, like Video Games New York is like the video game store, and then VG Soft is like their digital publisher because that store is actually publishing games now.
Yeah.
Which is a thing,
sick.
cool. So
Hey, shout out them. That's New York, baby.
Ryan, are you going to be taking any video game music for your first pick?
No, I'm not going to be taking out video
Okay,
game
okay.
music for my first pick.
These aren't snake noises at all.
And this pick is definitely not me pandering to anyone who may or may not be on this draft panel right now.
Okay.
But my my first pick is going to be the video game trivia panel we went to. It was an absolute blast. It was so fun.
I was about to go
getting hear the room erupt.
pander.
Keep going.
It was just a lot of fun. The room was like so invested in every answer. The trivia was fantastic. Not something that like anyone could have known or just Googled. Like it was really good trivia. It was great. It was a really great panel.
Thank you for saying that. Can I give you like some behind the scenes on it?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
So the first round is like basically a jumble of whatever video game trivia I can find. But how I typically come up with those is, I don't know if you saw, but they're always kind of like connected, where each question kind of flows into the other. I usually just go on a game randomizer and then randomize it until I go, oh, that's a fun piece of trivia that I can get about this video game. And then I start with that video game and then I go, oh, that video game reminds me of this thing about a video game. And I do that 13 times. And so that's why you get in a situation where I talk about Crytek at the start of it and then talk about Snoop Dogg and Zac Efron's love of video games. It's weird, but you know.
But it works.
I appreciate
like,
you saying
feel
that.
the through line throughout the entire show. Like you can sense that about the questions, but there's not in any way where you can predict the way it's going.
I was accused of planting that woman who only spoke in French so that I could flex my French skills
That was
as well.
incredible. By the way.
I just has been speaking French my entire life, so I'm like, oh, let me do this thing now. The crazy part is 2 other people on the panel spoke French, and I'm like, guys, why didn't you like help me out there? The 3 of us could have done that together, and they're like, we barely, like Travis and Katie who are on the panel, they're like, we barely functioned up there. So like that you spoke French was amazing.
Yeah. For anyone that wants to watch it, you've got the VOD up now, right?
It'll be up by the time this comes out. So you can find that at youtube.com/Jacob McCourt. It'll be there.
Yeah. And so there is a moment where I think she was answering a question.
So I had put up like, what do you think the Metacritic score for Mad World on the Wii is, which is like an old ass video game, which is great. And one person was like, me. So I'm like, of course, I need to ask you. This is like a 15-year-old video game. Tell me about your review that you wrote. And she goes, I'm French. I don't speak English well. And then I was like, okay. So I literally ran towards her and just asked her in French, like, tell me about your review. A moment. I swear it wasn't planted. I couldn't plant something that good.
And it took you by surprise for a second because you were like, oh, okay. And you started to turn around before you stopped and just started screaming French into the mic.
Well, I was like, I had that moment where I'm just like, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this?
It took me. You remembered that you spoke French. You're like, wait, hold on a second.
I know
hold
these
on.
words.
I've been doing it since I was 4. I can do this at this woman. It's probably only her, but it'll be a moment. I don't know.
Yeah, it was really good. The like Ryan was saying, with the crowd interaction, with everyone like hanging on every answer, the crowd had a vested interest because we were a participant and could potentially win.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had people that were like righteous rage at some of the answers, but it was never, it never got out of hand. It was never like, no one was ever like angry to the point of actually getting angry. Everyone was kind of like this, like, come on, we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah.
and it was more about supporting the person up asking the question than anything
At
else.
worst, and I don't know where y'all were sitting, but Ryan, there was a guy at in the front row when I put up Superman 64, and he just like, the thing is, I heard him out, and he was like, "That's the worst game ever.
Yeah.
I hate that thing." And then he just kept going, and I'm like, "Cool. I'm just gonna like keep going. Like, bro, if you hate Superman 64, like, you do your thing." But like, he just kept going. I'm just like, okay,
Just gotta keep the show moving.
I'm
Superman
Superman.
64 just screeches every show.
Okay.
To a halt.
Yeah, I should not have it in future shows. But no, Ryan, thank you for saying that. That's really kind.
It
of
was
you
a
to say.
blast. It definitely stands out as a highlight of the weekend for me.
Nice. For number
PAX
one
West, here we
overall.
come.
So Jacob, what is your number one overall?
Oh, man, I feel like I have to do a non-video game thing too now, so I'm not the first one to talk about a video game. Damn. Am I gonna do my you know what? I'm gonna do my non-video game thing now. Okay, I'm gonna give you my favorite coffee shop around PAX East. Are you ready for it?
Ooh,
I wanted
yeah,
this before.
Are y'all coffee
Yeah.
people?
a little bit. Enough.
Did you go to Flower Bakery while you were in Boston? Okay, so Flower Bakery, there's a couple of locations. There's one that just when you get into the seaport, it's like on Farnsworth, so you go across the bridge and then you kind of take a right and it's kind of tucked away in a corner. But Flower Bakery, not only do they have the loveliest coffees and you can kind of like get away from the shore floor, it's like maybe 10 to 12 minutes away from the convention center, but they have the best bakeries and or pastries and sandwiches, especially for people who have allergies to, let's just say, gluten or other sort of intolerances. They're very good about that. So you can get yourself, next time you go to PAX East, I recommend that you go to Flower. You go a little bit early because sometimes PAX people kind of know about it because it's close enough. You order yourself a little egg sandwich, and that egg sandwich comes on some nice bread. It's got like a Dijonaise kind of little sauce on it. And it's just like you pick ham or bacon. You get your egg on there, and it's not like an egg. It's like kind of like an egg, almost like an egg patty, but it's clearly been like freshly made. And maybe top it off with an orange and poppy seed loaf afterwards. That is honestly one of the highlights whenever I go to PAX. Is like I go every morning to Flower to pick up my breakfast and my lunch, put it in my bag so I don't have to buy terrible food on the show floor. That's Flower Bakery and Cafe. Please enjoy it next time you go to PAX.
Now, I do have one point of clarification.
Yeah.
FLOUR?
Yeah.
It's funny, they have gluten-free things, and it's spelled FLOUR, which would kill my insides, but they do stuff without.
Just like seeing the sign, it kind of recoils at first, but they welcome you
I get
in
a
with
rash
open
by
arms.
entering the building, but it's so tasty.
They throw flour on you like a color run. They just like handful of powder.
Yeah, it's how you enter every time. They just say, "Welcome to Flower," and they throw it at you. It's a thing. But no, we're keeping it non-gamey.
How odd that my first pick is also a breakfast item.
Let's go!
It's not. It was my breakfast. The breakfast item. I just wanted to bring it up that you could get whenever you first walked into the into the convention center. There was a place with like pre-made sandwiches that Ryan and I got every single morning because we were always running late. And so we were just having to like rush over there and grab it. We also stayed at an Airbnb about 20 minutes away. And so we would have to like
walking or like driving.
Driving.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. And so the first day we took a train. That was pretty cool. The trains there are pretty outdated, but took a train and then whatever. So the cafe right inside the convention had pre-made sandwiches, and they had a sausage, egg, and cheese on French toast
Yes.
sandwich that sounds so much better than it really was because it was just cellophaned and under a heat lamp for who knows how long.
Cheese was liquid.
So it was just all super soggy. Yeah, it was all like, I mean, it was exactly what my body needed in the morning, every morning though, from the amount of staying up and drinking we did. It just kind of nourished me with syrup and egg.
Mm-hmm.
But my first pick and the first video game to go, Demon School.
Ooh. Good choice.
I
Good choice.
Demon School, we got to play it a little bit at PAX West whenever I went with Holden, and we had a great time, and that was one of the ones that we kept talking about afterwards. Ryan and I got an interview with them. Again, it was like super early, 10 a.m. We weren't even allowed onto the show floor until like 10:15. We tried to walk up with the media badge and be like, hey, we've got an appointment. And they're like, get out of here. You're not allowed in there early. That doesn't matter. We tried so hard to get around them. But those enforcers, they can enforce. They're on top of their game. But we got an interview with
Brandon Sheffield?
No. Who's Necrosoft? No, that's not.
That's the developer.
Is it Necrosoft?
Yeah.
Okay. For some
good
reason,
name.
that did not sound right in my head. But it's a fantastic tactics grid-based RPG where they try to cut out all the menus as much as possible to where all you have to do is take your character, place them on the tile you want to send them to, and the game will kind of do the work for you. And as long as you are making your characters either flank an enemy or attack near around the same time as each other, they'll support each other in ways that like either build up your attack power or heal each other or make, combo moves, right? All of this works to streamline tactics grid-based combat, which is normally kind of clunky and menu heavy, and just kind of get you in and out of the fights very quickly. And it's all immediately, I think, understandable right off the get-go. Again, this is like a Shin Megami God, why am I cannot. Persona, like, it's set in a school. And over the course of the game, you kind of are seeing this demon world within the school that you are going back and forth between. And the writing between the students, your currently four student characters, that the relationships between them are all really well written. You have your really sweet character. You have your kind of himbo jock. It's all amazingly well done. And I cannot wait to see more of Demon School. I really enjoyed it. Jacob, did you get an interview with them?
So I played it at West and got an interview with them at West. And I think the
Oh.
most striking thing that you mentioned, or that maybe you touched on, is that the baddies, the world that comes into the school, has a different graphical style than the students do. And so you get these, like, as described to me, like Sega Saturn-esque, like, bosses coming in, taking up the whole, like, or parts of the grid-based, floor that you're on, and just, like, their hands will come down and then just point on certain, like, grids, for example, and it's wild and it looks amazing. And, I can't wait to play this game.
Yeah. It's so good. Bob, did you get to see him?
I didn't, but I saw your guys' gameplay of it after the fact, and I'm in. All I had to hear was Sega Saturn, and I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan and I, like, one of the things for this one, I don't know if it was the same way at West, but they had their own, like, little, they called it the White Void. And basically it was just a segmented off area where media got to go and get more of a one-on-one interview and kind of be away from the show floor. And it was, as first-time media people, first-time media badge holders, it just felt cool. It felt neat for them to be like, oh, come on over to the media room. We're like, yeah, we can go to the media room later, suckers. And then, like, because we had showed up late, I think we were eating into, the appointment from someone else a little bit. So one of the guys kind of popped his head in. He was like, hey, I'm the marketing director, and I just needed to let you guys know you need to get the fuck out. We're like, whoa, okay. He was like, I'm just kidding. But seriously, we do have another appointment. You do actually have to get out. We're like, okay, that's completely understandable, obviously.
That's great.
I was actually off the sticks this time and got to just enjoy the writing. But
I
do
can't
like
frickin' wait to get my hands on it. The characters were a lot of fun. If you've played it, you know the rooftop scene. I don't want to spoil anything, but they already spoiled it.
Spoiled.
If you know, you
I
know.
get
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
The tactics was a lot of fun. The art aesthetic is really cool. Their whole like logic behind the more 3D, that Sega Saturn effect, is like, well, demons are 3D and humans are only 2D. So like the more 3D a being, the more powerful a demon they are. It's very cool aesthetic, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. My second pick for the evening, starting round 2.
Sorry, Preston. That was the end of round 1.
Snakes. Little snake.
Preston, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Bob.
No more of these interruptions.
No more of these interruptions. All right. Round 2 starts with Shoo Me Come Home.
You got a hat, didn't you?
I didn't. There were so many hats on the show floor, though. There were so many hats. We actually stopped a couple and asked them. We were trying to do like video interviews. And I feel like the guy answered Shoo Me Come Home because he like looked over at his girlfriend and was like, the hat. Shoo Me Come Home. I know that one. I can say that one because it seemed like a sudden answer from him. But it is an exploration-based game where you are a little tiny mushroom and you're running around a big world. And it is completely that short hike mixed with little gator game. And it's all about just comfort and coziness and exploring with a, what is that? Endurance meter that slowly runs out. You know, it's a very similar concept to many other games we're seeing. But I think the thing that makes it stand out a lot like what Little Gator Game stood out because of is the dialogue is just, it's got that like kind of Gen Z casual nature about it where there's a little bit of slang thrown in there. And so it's not like necessarily timeless dialogue, but it is super casual and comfortable and familiar in a way that makes you feel grounded in their world as much as Shumi feels ungrounded in the world because he's trying to find his way back home. But yeah, they gave out hats and everyone was wearing these little Shumi hats and I did not get one. It's a good game. I think it's something to look forward to and just kind of, it'll probably only be a couple hours to play through. So it seems worth it.
I'm sad I didn't play this one because I've heard a lot of people talk about it. And as a fan of a short hike and Little Gator Game, looking at it, I'm like, I would play this because there was Mail Time also, which is being published by Freedom Games, which I played that at PAX West. And I was like, this doesn't feel right yet. It might get there. But I was just, Shoo Me Come Home. Okay. But I mean, this looks dope. So
I love the art style, by the way. It's got a very Katamari vibe to me.
That sort of polygonal look where, and as you are turning, it kind of looks like everything's catching back up to you as you're moving around, but it seems intentional, I hope. But we'll get to that maybe a little bit later on. There was another game that was similar to it that I think would be fun to talk about. But Jacob, I believe you're next on.
I am next. And I would like to talk about a game that was not on the floor, but I played behind closed doors.
What?
This is something that y'all probably got a note about. I want to talk about the Mage Seeker, a League of Legends story.
Oh, yeah. I did see a note about that.
Okay, so it's made by Digital Sun. Digital Sun made Moonlighter. That was their first title. Moonlighter is fantastic. If you haven't played it, it's probably like $10 on a digital platform. You should play it. But essentially, it's a Riot Forge game. So I know that y'all are some Riot fans in here, but Riot Forge is like their way to give IP to developers to make games that are not League of Legends. And so they did a Hex Tech game. I think they've done one or two others, but to me, this is like the first real... Yeah, the Rune King is a Riot Forge game, but this to me is like the first one where I'm like, non-League of Legends fans need to play this damn video game because it is an action RPG. The pixel art looks amazing. You play as Silas, a character from League of Legends, who is this mage who can not only capture other people's magic and use it against them, but can actually, as the game goes on, like use his own magic repertoire that he ends up getting. It just felt really good. I've not played a game that felt this good, that looked like this since Hades, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Like it's that good feeling. Probably because
That's
it's
high
coming out
praise.
so soon. It's out in like 13 days from recording this on
What?
April 18th. It is out like imminently. So we played a near final version of the game, and it looked to have a cool story. The combat was great. It looked amazing. The music, they ended up working with Garrett Coker for the music.
Oh.
So like it just bangs on every level. So please check it out. You will watch the trailer and know if it's a game for you really quickly. That's The Mage Seeker, a League of Legends story by Digital Sun.
I am so frustrated that we didn't take that appointment now, because it was one that, I just saw a League of Legends story. I was like, the other games have not grabbed me in any way, so it'll be fine. I'll see it when it comes out, and it'll probably be, something I skip over anyways. But I did not realize that it was by the Moonlighter devs, because
and that's what
such
pulled
a good
me
one.
in, because I was like, oh wait, the Moonlighter people are doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Watched a trailer and said, oh, I need to play this. So I get it, but like you'll want to play this video game.
Oh,
And it's only going to be it's going to be $40. So like it's kind of a reasonable buy as well.
You had me at pixel art and not League of Legends, and I'm interested in that.
What, you don't like the deep lore of League of Legends?
All 147 characters.
Yeah, is this character in Arcane?
No.
Yeah, I won't know anything about him then.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That'll give him time to, it'll be his own game, own character.
Mhm.
And I won't have any preconceived notions or any background with just like hate from someone else on my team that screams at me when I play him wrong. Kindest community, that League of Legends community.
You're supposed to dive, man. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you going mid for?
Feeding.
You go left.
Feeding.
I need help top. Please help. Stop jungling.
These are all the phrases we know. I think
Yeah.
we've
You've
capped
tapped it all.
out. Yeah.
That's it.
It was at
Yeah.
this point I uninstalled the game. Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I learned.
Ryan, what is your second pick of the night?
My second pick of the night is a game we all saw at a Sony State of Play back in September. I got to have some hands-on time with, and I don't know that I could be more excited after getting a chance to play Pacific Drive.
Let's go.
Ooh.
So good.
It was so good. It was all the things I kind of wanted to hear out of that game after the trailer left me interested but cautious. I'm excited for car maintenance, but not so in-depth that I'm turning individual nuts and bolts. I'm excited for off-roading, but not so hairy an off-road experience as something like SnowRunner or MudRunner. And I'm really, really excited to dive into whatever this supernatural Pacific Northwest story they've got brewing is. You know, when you've got sentient balls of floating tires trying to steal the car that I'm driving in, I have questions I need answered.
The biggest question of that was the world, and was sort of, I started to understand the loop, and they do a really good job in the demo of onboarding you to fixing up your car, every individual panel of the car being removable, replaceable, upgradable, repairable. Every single bit matters, and that's what you're really taking care of, right? They do a really good job of onboarding you to all of that, and then they kind of just say, good luck, take your car and get out there, and good luck, and you'll be driving along, and all of a sudden there's no gravity, and you'll fly up into the air, and then you'll slam back down.
And they'll be surrounded by 40 mannequins. And
40 mannequins. It's all really, really weird. And I really hope that they lean into that strangeness in a way where I don't necessarily need answers, but I do need a little bit more intrigue beyond these are things just placed on the map to make you go, huh? And then eventually you see that thing on the map for the 10th time and you stop saying, huh? And that's about, where it ends. I hope that there's a little bit more, even if it is just picking up audio tracks or notes or something to give me some lore to how weird it all is. Blake, the guy that we spoke with at the booth, compared it a lot to Annihilation and the Southern Reach trilogy. And those, they nail it. It really does. You can see the comparison there, but that has such deep implications and sort of there's a whole host of reasons why all of this occurs in the Southern Reach trilogy and like all of the fallout from all of this. And I want to have that kind of depth here, and I'm not sure if that's going to be available.
Ryan, I need to know, when you played the demo, did you go into the garage and explore it, or did you immediately repair your car and hit the road?
I explored for a little bit, but probably not as much as I would have liked to, because I wanted to get a feel for the driving. I'm big on games that they put me in things with 4 wheels, so I really wanted to get a feel for how that was going to come across and whatnot.
Car feel good? Driving feel good in first person?
Yeah, it felt really good for me. I like what they've got going on handling-wise. It's not so simulator-y that it would push away people who are, not into that thing, but it's not so arcade that it's silly. Like it's taking itself seriously enough in the world they've got going on.
The car feels super weighty. Like you feel like you're driving around a ton of like scrap metal.
Yeah, definitely.
Pacific Drive, Ryan's second pick.
Yeah.
Bob, what is your second pick?
Oh my. Well, might as well follow the pattern here and go with a game as well. My second round draft pick is Infernax. Don't know if anybody played this. Infernax, developed by Berserk Studio. It is a 2D, I would call it a Metroidvania, but it is a straight up Castlevania game. Very much 16-bit graphical style with all the violence turned up to 11. So as you're running through your Castlevania-style dungeons, as you're whipping and axing and sorting all the zombies, you get to see them, like, actually come loose from the bones, and you're being splattered by blood the entire time, and they have these cute, like, think like Ninja Gaiden on NES-style cutscenes, but it's of people like, oh, you run into a villager. What are you going to do? It looks like the villager's been bitten by a zombie. And the options are like, try to save them or put them out of their misery. And if you choose put them out of their misery, it's this incredibly gory, like, fist flying through the person's face, and like their eyeballs are shooting in all directions. It looks fantastic. And I believe the game is already out, but what they were there to promote is a 2-player co-op, which is literally just like, think of any of your favorite Castlevania games, but now you're playing both at the same time, co-op on the same screen. It looks so incredibly fun. I talked to the developer for a little bit. He had such a ball enjoying it. Also, the booth next to him was playing the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, so it was all kind of vibing together. All good things were happening, but Infernax. Please check it out. Infernax with an X, but not with an E at the end. Don't you dare put an E at the end of that.
And these are the folks that did just Shapes and Beats too, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool guys. And again, I'm all about that retro aesthetic, and this absolutely nails it. So really, really cool stuff.
This looks super dope. Does it feel kind of like, because I know you said it feels like old school Castlevania, but there are numbers that come off some of the folks. Mm-hmm. It reminded me a little of Shovel Knight. Like, is it again still that kind of feel?
Oh yeah, it's taking kind of the best of the Shovel Knights, the Dead Cells of the world, and but still staying true to that kind of simple control scheme aesthetic of the early Castlevania games.
Dope.
Yeah, absolutely rules.
Dope.
And I think it's coming to Switch. Is on Switch. Hey, listen, I'm not the PR guy, but Google it. You'll find out.
I'm not the PR guy. I only talk to him.
I think I might have. I don't remember.
Is the co-op mode called Do or Die? Like, they're from Quebec City, I think, so they Frenched it up.
Oh, is that... If that is what they called it, they didn't tell me that, and now I'm disappointed, because that's an excellent pun.
That's a great name.
No, it rules. Thoroughly rules.
I can confirm, Bob, this is on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series.
It's all over the place. And
Windows.
Extra bonus points, they brought a couch to PAX. So if you wanted to play it co-op, you literally had to sit on the couch
Hell
next
yeah.
to your partner there.
Nice.
Bravo. On a show floor with far too much walking, a couch comes in handy. That's good.
More comfy seating at PAX. That's what we need.
Yeah, that was Melatonin at PAX West. Melatonin
Yeah.
had the best setup. It was just pure comfort.
It matters.
Bob, round 3, pick 1.
Well,
That's right? Yeah, sure.
yeah, you got there. First.
Ryan.
Ryan, can we get a snake out of you?
What? That is, you heard it. I'll go get the snake. You want proof?
Put him on.
don't
Let
bother
me
me.
ask some questions. This is your draft, Snake Draft.
Start of round 3. I don't know if any of you guys checked it out because it was actually on the board game side of things, the tabletop side of things. But I want to send a shout out to the folks at Rabble Games, Rabble. They actually put out quite a few board game, tabletop game, card game, all with a really beautiful aesthetic, very like underspoken, really good graphic design, which is relatively rare in the board game space, I will say. A lot of them go for the more bombastic stuff, but I was able to talk to the main fellow over there, George, I believe. Did an interview with him. He's such a passionate guy, and he produced this game Sparks, which actually he emailed me about because it's relatively similar to like the style of my podcast, where it's all these like kind of one step above icebreaker questions on cards that he was inspired to make by the going out and like sitting under the stars, going camping with friends, and you just find yourself in these kind of like, deep but not quite deep, but it gets deep conversations as the night.
Yeah, those hiking conversations.
Yeah, there's just something about being in nature and talking with friends and maybe a little liquid courage, and suddenly, all this is flowing at you. So he made this game Sparks, which is all about these deep questions about yourself. And he couldn't have been a nicer guy, couldn't have been more passionate about his game and all the games upcoming. And once we were done with the interview, I actually said, like, hey, legitimately, I want to buy this game. Like, this is a really cool thing. And it was available for purchase. And he goes, you know what? You wouldn't believe your odds. Right before you got here, one of my Kickstarter backers showed up as like a guest, and we talked for a little bit, and he bought 2 copies of the game and said, I don't want it. I already have it. Give it to the next 2 people who stop by your booth.
That's so nice.
So I got a copy of this game Sparks absolutely free, just out of the generosity of the folks at PAX. So I believe I'm literally playing it next weekend. My friends and I are having a little get together. I couldn't be more excited about it. George couldn't be a nicer guy. The game is so up my alley. All those things combined just made for such a cool experience. Rabble Games, and the game is called Sparks.
Do you have any sample questions that
Yeah. So I know the one that's kind of on the back of the box was like, what's something you know now that you didn't know 10 years ago?
Hey, Jacob, I have a question for you.
Yeah, tell me.
What's something you know now that you didn't know 10 years ago?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Let me
Add it
tell
to
you.
your list. 100th
No,
question.
I'll give you an answer if you want it.
Yeah, go for it.
Everything's going to be okay.
That's nice.
I like that.
I just recently, we're going through exercises of like being kind to ourselves, or at least I am. And, that's something that I recently went through to say like, hey, you're doing okay. Be kind to yourself. So there you go. Now I'm going to cry.
That's a nice, really emotional and thoughtful answer. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And
now.
I think that
you
is-
go now. You do the thing now.
I was just going to say video editing. So
Oh.
but in all actuality, I think my answer was going to be the little hobbies that you pick up on can actually become very impactful and can fill out your sort of your resume in ways that you never would have expected. And I think that's important to learn younger is that you don't even necessarily need to have gone to college for something for it to be applicable elsewhere. Video editing, again, being a major one that like got me part of my job now and got me interviews that I've had in this industry. And so that's, I went to school for English and didn't start video editing until we went online as teachers. And so, I think it's focus. You can have your passion, you can have your hobby, and you can have your job, but those things often you can make work together, even if you still want to keep them separate. And that's perfectly acceptable too. Ryan, what's yours?
Thing I knew 10 years ago, or thing I know now that I didn't know 10 years ago. This lovely group of friends in the DraftBooks community.
Nice.
Like all these people.
Nice.
Nice of you.
Who
Also very
I talk
true.
to you guys like daily. You are
Yeah.
like, they're my friends. Absolutely. And thank God for video games, because otherwise, who knows?
That has been something I also, I know we're completely derailing now, but for,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
a very nice conversation based around third round pick one, Sparks by which studio?
Rabble
Games.
Games.
Rabble Games.
RABBLE. They have
That's something that I
they have a
realized
bunch of
recently
games too.
too.
Check them out, please.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, please press.
It's just the idea that like it's been like 2 or 3 years now that we've been had the Draft Funks community and people you talk to every day, and I didn't even know them 2 or 3 years ago. But it's weird how friendships develop over time,
Yeah.
Just
Preston,
weird.
we've gone river rafting together. River
know.
tubing.
Bob, what's your answer? And then we'll move on from this.
Video editing.
How
Damn,
to
I
make callbacks.
was all emotional, and you guys just blew me up.
How to make callbacks.
All right, Ryan, what is your pick for round 3?
Bob, I like going to board games. I think I'm going to do the same thing, which is going to put Preston in some shambles, because we know we both only saw the same board game.
Yeah, we only saw one, and it was good.
It was very good, so good that I immediately backed it. I texted up my friends who would be my play partners, like, hey, there's this board game. I've seen it at the show. It's on a really steep sale. Would you be down to play this when it comes out in like October? And they were both like, yes, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I immediately backed it. This is Salvage Deep Space. So not only does this 2 to 4 player skirmisher co-op board game set in space where you have mech suits look really cool. The combat looked like a lot of fun. I have a few minis from the show. One of them just went flying into oblivion. Just like the rings. They're like these little cryptid buggy guys. Yeah, the minis look super cool. But getting to talk with the dev team was just lovely. They were so nice and just so passionate about their product. It really shone through. They were a great crew over at 3301 Games. Salvage Deep Space. I can't wait. I'm going to hopefully try to get some recordings done when I actually get that game in hand and put some videos up for it. At the very least, I'm going to steal my 2 buddies and force them to sit in front of a mic and talk about it with me for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, that team was super passionate, very nice. But it has this kind of Deep Rock Galactic sort of setting, but instead of dwarves, you're mechs, and the damage you can take may go to your mech systems. It may go to you as the core of that mech. And if enough damage goes to you, then your character dies. And it's supposed to be played very much with legacy materials. So as you gain upgrades to your rolling, whenever you make an attack, you roll a dice. So as you gain upgrades to the dice that you roll, you're going to put a little sticker actually on the dice that represents whatever that upgrade is. And so that sort of tactile progression and being able to put your stickers on, rip the stickers off. They said there was something like 150 pilots, I believe. That
over 100 for sure.
And
they had a bunch of individual pilot cards. They're like, we expect them to die a lot, so we included a lot of pilot cards.
And I love having a permadeath system. I was a big fan of Pandemic Legacy, and not many games have captured that well, that legacy style and systems. And this seems to do it really well. And it's currently still on Kickstarter. And I think
they're
going to be
late backers.
They said around PAX Unplugged time is when they're going to be wanting to ship out their first set. And so it's still available to be kickstarted and backed.
Yeah, I want to. That's where I think I might have saw this. I didn't play it, but yeah, I saw it at PAX Unplugged down in Philly.
Yeah, they were there at this last one.
Yeah, no, this is an excellent choice.
And they're going to have more unique minis at PAX Unplugged. These little buggy dudes were specific for PAX East. They said there was one more for PAX Unplugged, and then there's one more show. I think they said they had like 3 minis that were going to be
Gen
unique to
Con?
shows they were going.
Yeah,
Maybe it was Gen Con.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
So if you're interested at all, try to get to the shows, get some unique special stuff.
Jacob, what's your third pick?
Man, so I'd prepped video games, but I did play some board games and purchased a board game that I played with one of the designers. So let's do that. I'm going to talk about a little board game called Mud. Had y'all heard about a game called Side Effects that came out a few years ago?
No.
Okay, so Side Effects is from Pillbox Games. They make games that are just easy to learn, and then just you play. You learn in 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can play for 30. So essentially, their first game, Side Effects, was a card game where you had to just like cure a bunch of ailments that you would have. Whereas this next game is actually about the American election system, and so it's a strategy game where you have like different regions of the states, and your goal is to collect 3 sets of voters in a specific area of the United States. So it'll be like, I want to collect 1 million liberals in the Midwest, and then 1 million liberals in central or the center of the country, etc. I'm Canadian, sorry, places. But essentially, like, it's super easy to learn.
We do have a center.
And you have a center? There's a center of the country,
I think
right?
So.
Just nobody
I've
goes
never
there.
been.
It's flyover
Yeah,
country,
exactly.
right?
They call it
Yeah,
the
cool.
Midwest, but it's the center. Yeah, it's.
Yeah. You coastal elites, you.
Yeah.
But no, it was like really easy to learn. I played it with Jade, who was one of the designers, and Travis, who's one of my co-hosts. And it was one of those games that, like, you would pick up and play, and not only was there the, getting voters, but also there was like a scandal system. So you could essentially like sling mud towards your other players.
That's so good.
And give them scandals. And what they did is they actually pulled from history weird scandals from political history, and those are on the cards. So super fun game to play. It's out now, and the coolest part was, both Travis and I decided to buy a game. We're like, we're doing it, whatever, let's do it. And they did a thing where if you wanted to take a chance, you could put your hand in a pill container they had and pull out a chance to either get $1 off your game, pay $1 more for your game, or in 1 out of 100 cases, get a free game. So even gamifying cashing out.
Good.
So Pillbox Games, Mud.
Did you have to pay, or do you?
So Travis and I both did it. Travis paid $1 more, and I paid $1 less. So
evened out. That's nice.
yeah, nets out. It's almost like they knew that was gonna happen.
Right. So did whenever you get one of these scandals, what's sort of the mechanic for? Do you have to get rid of it? Do you have to like talk your way through it with the group, or
So essentially, like, there are different action cards that you can play that are like digging up someone else's scandal or like suppressing a scandal of yours. That's kind of some of the mechanics that help. Basically, like, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but like if you try and do something or steal from someone else, that's when you get a scandal, for example. So it's really fair, and you'll learn really quickly like what regions to stick to, because you have to be either liberal or conservative across your entire board to win. So it's one of those games where you're playing your board, but you're also looking at other people's boards, and you'll get better the more and more you play. I could even tell, like, I'm like, this is a game I won't get good at until the 4th time I play it.
How long are rounds?
They had said 20 to 40 minutes are typically the round length, so something that can be pretty quick, 2 to 6 players. It was fun. I recommend it. It's out now.
Mud.
Yeah.
Mud.
I'm even looking up the board game right now. Again, very good graphic design on it. And I do like one of the scandal cards I see is candidate yells weird during rally. Lose 3 million Midwestern voters.
Yeah. That's exactly the one.
I have it right here, and even the box, like, it's got a rat on it, and the art on the box is really good. It's like not old school, but it looks like the dollar bill. It's got that like font on it,
the texture to it.
Yeah, I think they just launched from their Kickstarter, so they're still selling Kickstarter copies, so you can find it on their website.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right. My third pick for the evening is going to be meeting Jerry. So Ryan and I were in the other media room, which seemed like overflow for the media room. We were just sitting there chatting it up, just me and him. These two old guys kind of walk in. They were older. They were older than us.
Immediate backtracking on statements.
Yeah. You'll figure out why. Soon.
Okay.
But they both walk in. They're talking very casually. One of the guys notices my shirt. I'm wearing my Draft Punks jersey, and so it's got like the stylized design of the logo and everything. And he's like, "Oh man, I love the vibes. Like Draft Punks. Have you ever heard of Draft Punk in Seattle?" And sort of started talking to me up about some bar in Seattle, and then we just kind of started getting into food from various places and talking about the US and where, like, I'm from Texas, so I can't find any good queso anywhere in the Northeast. It's just impossible to
does
find.
not exist.
Anything. Very normal conversations. And I forget, for whatever reason, at some point, I hand him my card, and it's got a little media card. And he's like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm Jerry, man." I was like, "Cool, Jerry." He's like, "Yeah, I founded PAX." It's just like, hold on.
Jerry Holkins? Hold on. What?
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry.
Oh.
And it was the most casual drop.
It was so casual.
Oh yeah, I founded PAX. Because he kept being like, "Man, yeah, whenever you go out to PAX West, it gets real crazy out there." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I guess. Like, you must go out to PAX West, sure, whatever."
That guy's media. He must know what he's talking about. This Jerry fella.
That was in my head. That was it.
Oh.
And he just like, "Yeah, I founded PAX," and I feel like we still kept it cool, and I took it in stride and was very much like, "Oh, okay, yeah, cool. I founded, I didn't found, but like I'm part of the Draft Club, so whatever, same thing." But we very much like, "Oh, cool. I don't want to geek out right now. We're having a normal conversation. Let's continue having this normal conversation. I will geek out as soon as you leave the room." But the whole time he was very nice and very comfortable to talk to. We had no idea up until the point that he said it. And then even after saying it, it's not like he was being pompous about it or anything. He was just kind of chatting and just saying, "Oh yeah." This other guy came in to do an interview, and that guy was kind of flustered and couldn't quite remember what his interview was for, which is kind of weird. But again, Jerry just kind of took it all in stride and was like, "We'll figure something out, man. I've got plenty of stuff I can talk about. I've got this, that." And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I think it's that third one. Yeah, I think that's it." Like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, let's go." And then I felt kind of bad because we were being very loud during the interview. So I apologize to both Jerry and the man who interviewed him. But I don't know. It was a cool interaction, and it felt, it was a big surprise for us, and it was completely unscripted in any way, right? And so it was neat, and it sort of reaffirmed, I think, a conversation that we may have later on about PAX, in that it is just a cool place for people that love games to hang out, and there's very little in terms of what keeps the player from someone higher up, someone that is, representing a game, representing PAX, representing a panel, a podcast, whatever. We're all there to share the one, hobby of games, whether that's tabletop or video games. And that is what that felt like. That kind of embodied that whole passion around games. It was neat.
I'm like, "Who's this Jerry guy?" And then I'm like,
What?
"You just met a random guy, Jerry?" And no, it's you met. Okay, cool. Yeah. You met Tycho. Great. Cool.
And I will say, he put the business card in his wallet.
Ooh.
So, which that wallet was absolutely packed. So it is probably melted together in with 5 other business cards at this point. But
A
it's
George
in there.
Costanza wallet, eh?
Huh?
A George Costanza wallet, eh?
Yeah. It was huge. That was our media room moment. That felt really just really cool.
That is so incredibly cool.
What badge color did he have? Was it like gold?
He didn't have a badge on.
Oh!
Yeah, I didn't need one.
Flex.
Which is exactly why I just assumed,
It was just a holographic Charizard.
I had no idea. But my 4th round pick is going to
Sorry,
be...
Preston.
Huh?
We can't just start round 4 here.
Everybody. All right.
Preston,
Home
the floor is
seat.
yours, please.
Homeseek. And what it is it's a city building strategy game that is set in a post-apocalypse after the world runs out of water. And so you have wars that occur, to fight for the water. And then the whole main mechanic of the game is finding potable water or creating potable water by establishing like water pumps and then connecting those water pumps to different things. He kept likening it to Frostpunk in a way that is more directly narrative focused. Not that Frostpunk isn't, but it has a heavy focus on narrative, and everything is structured in 8 different episodes, basically, that are all still, coming out all at once. But the episodic format sort of keeps pushing you along, and you keep learning bigger, wider chunks of the game as you move through episodes. What we saw was you lose, what should I say? You don't have to deal with a lot of like the micro management that you would normally do in a city sim or anything like that. It's very macro level where you're just connecting and you're worrying about your resources and where your workers go back and forth. But that's about the extent of the micro management, is where your workers are allocated. What's neat about it is that everything happens in real time. So if you say you house your worker on the east side of the map and they are allocated to a pump way over on the west side, they have to walk all the way there and back as part of their shift. And so you lose efficiency by where you place them on the map and how far they have to walk. And so it's all about making sure that you can make the most efficient city with the space that you have. And then you're also sending them out on excursions and exploration. It's a cool game, but really what was so great about it was Mike, and being able to speak with the developer that was just so sincerely excited and passionate and wanted to kind of like, he would have kept us planted there for 2 hours playing his game. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like, he really just was able to kind of get into the minutia and sort of the details of his game in a way that was really interesting, and built out Homeseek for me as a more interesting game than maybe it probably would have had I not had him there backing me up and walking me through it. It was a cool experience. Again, it just felt lovely and felt really nice. And I want to do anything I can to protect that man and support him. Mike is a lovely person who should get all the support. But yeah, that's Homeseek by Traptics. Jacob, what's your 4th?
There's too many good things to bring up, but I think where I'm going to focus is on a little title from TikTok Games. This is Wrestle Story.
Oh, shambles.
So
Yep.
good.
Everyone got excited. Did I steal picks?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you got all 3 of us a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It was on my list.
Okay, well, we can all do this together. There were 2 competing wrestling games on the floor. There was
Yes.
WrestleQuest, which has been in development for a long time, that has licensed wrestlers, that is going to be a 40-hour RPG epic when it's done. I think this year.
Mhm.
Don't quote me on that. It's on Steam. You can wishlist it. Do that, because it actually matters to developers. Come to find
Yes.
out.
Yep.
Wrestle Story reminded me a lot of Costume Quest if you've played that Double Fine game, it is like a self-contained Halloween kind of game. This is the wrestling version of that, where you create your own character, you gather your wrestling posse. It's got that active, that ATB battle system, that, Paper Mario battle system, and you take down different baddies in like different wrestling lands. And it just felt super fun. Even in the little demo that we played, the vertical slice we played, I'm like, oh, the writing in this is going to be fun. And I'm going to enjoy seeing all the different wrestling stereotypes that come out. No licensed wrestlers, but I don't think it matters here.
Yeah.
Everyone here played it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Very excited. It was our first game. This was definitely on my short list, Jacob. This was the first game we had an appointment for.
Nice.
So like Preston and I are like, oh,
It's terrifying.
as we're like coming up and we're chatting with Steve, the guy who was running the
Creative
demo
director.
for us that day. And we just get talking about life before we have the demo on, and it turns out he's also from Connecticut, and we just start bonding about that, and he tells us about how he turned the whole studio into wrestling fans and then convinced them to make the wrestling game he
You're in
always wanted
Vince's
to make.
backyard. You have to do it.
Have to do it. And yeah, I'm really excited. I was immediately won over by the writing and like the opening lines, and they're like, "This new wrestler straight out of Jobberville," and I'm like, "All right, I'm in." That's all.
Yeah, that's something. Jacob, are you a wrestling fan?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I'm
That's-
going to AEW Forbidden Door in 2
Ooh.
months from now. So,
Lucky.
but this is not a wrestling podcast. I promise.
Not yet.
Well, see,
we can turn it into one.
one very quickly.
I'm the odd man out here. And so like WrestleQuest for me is like interesting, but I don't have that history. I have none of that touch to kind of like connect with. And so while I know the big names from the 90s, basically that's about it. And so Wrestle Story being a lot more accessible in terms of just being its own video game with wrestling themes rather than connections to the history. To me, I'm far more on board here because it does seem like I can just jump right in and appreciate it for what it is without having to have some huge catalog of knowledge behind, supporting me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's an excellent point because that's kind of WrestleQuest's kind of claim to fame is like, oh, we got the Road Warriors and we have a bunch of these more old school wrestlers who, for some people, that means a lot, and for other people, it's just like, I don't know who that is.
Jeff Jarrett's in the game. Do you care? Slapnuts? Who knows? I don't know.
But yeah, I got to talk to Steve as well for Wrestle Story. Love it. We got to bond about old school RPGs. And apparently I saw the day after I had left, I guess on Saturday, Xavier Woods from WWE, who runs their Up, Down, their gaming channel, went and demoed the game and shared it on Twitter and talked about it. So they're getting a lot of really good publicity about the game. And I'm super psyched for them. They couldn't, they seem like a group of fantastic people there, and their game is from the slice I played, super duper fun. So I'm very, very psyched for that.
They've got a couple games actually that they're working on right now. I played Writer's Block at PAX West, which is it's like a Boggle Slay the Spire hybrid.
Oh.
And that game seemed dope too. And I know that they're working on one other game as well. Oh, they're working on Rift of the Necrodancer, which was also on the floor.
Right.
So like they're just working on banger after banger.
Yeah.
Seamus style.
I always forget that that's like also TikTok. Like it's not, or is that it's
It's
wouldn't be under
Brace
the same
Yourself
publisher.
and TikTok.
Right.
Not the app.
Not TikTok,
Yeah, not-
the TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes.
C's,
yeah.
not K's.
like a clock.
Yeah.
That was whenever we were doing our video, it was kind of like, okay, it's TikTok, not TikTok, and it's Wrestle Story, not WrestleQuest. We need to make a couple things very clear. But Ryan, with Wrestle Story out of the way, does that clear you up for any other pick?
It does make some decisions a little bit easier. This pick I was pretty solidified on what I was taking, but next round you made it a little bit easier, Jacob, and we got to talk about Wrestle Story, which was really why I wanted to draft it anyway. So, props. What I want to talk about, I can't believe I kind of forgot about this story, thinking about other things until the fourth round. Preston, we got a box of Tim Tams when we went to go play Go Town, which is being made by a Queensland dev. It's this fun little like Animal Crossing / Stardew Valley little city builder thing that looks very cute. But I'm walking around the rest of the show after that with just a package of Tim Tams sticking out of my backpack. While we're waiting in line for a Corgi's cozy hike, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and there were masks at the show. It's the fracas of the floor, so I'm not like paying that much attention. A lady asked if she could have one of the Tim Tams. It would mean a lot. So of course we oblige. And as I hand her the Tim Tams, I hear the Australian accent. It's like, okay, I understand why this means something a little bit extra to you. And we get the package back, and like 2 minutes later, we're walking around the show floor, and Preston says, "That was Alana Pierce. You know that, right?" And I was like, "What the fuck, Preston? You told me that in."
I love that.
It was just a complete.
What is with your luck?
The two of them just stumbling into celebrities like far and wide.
It was so funny.
But it goes to your point about like there being no barriers between like normies like us and people with prominence. And no offense to y'all, you're lovely.
Absolutely.
But
No,
we're all
I
normies.
totally understand. But yeah, she was very clearly in a hurry, and I think a lot of it was like, please God, I hope they don't recognize me and try to stop me and have a conversation. Not that I think that she would have been above stopping and having a conversation. She's probably just very busy.
Yeah.
But so there was like can I have a Tim Tam, please? Okay, give me the Tim Tam. I'm out. It was just like gone. So I can see how Ryan completely spaced on that fact. But
I have to go write God of War 3.
Huh. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a weird interaction.
I have to go punch someone in the face soon. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she's doing that creator brawl thing, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
What?
She's boxing. Creator boxing.
Creator
my
boxing,
God.
yeah.
Yeah. Just a fun, weird
Yeah, what a
interaction.
wild time PAX is.
Always have a box of Tim Tams in your bag is
Right,
the lesson here, just in case.
Bob.
Oh no. Don't make me choose.
last
Don't
two.
make me choose. Do I get
Choose.
2 in a row here? Is that
You
how this
do,
works?
Bob. Yes.
That's how this
Oh,
works.
no.
You see, Bob, it's a snake draft.
Go ahead.
Got him.
Run it back through.
All right. I'm gonna go with a game called Every Day We Fight.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
This actually was my last pick.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
Nice.
that would have been my last pick for sure.
I had a very long demo with the game. I think I played it for about 40 minutes, which was great. And then I got to talk to one of the developers whose name escapes me right now. Yeah, it's a super fun. It's basically the best way to describe it is like an XCOM style game, strategy game. But instead of it being turn-based, it's more action AP points based. So let's say you have 10 AP points, takes 5 to fire a shotgun, 2 to fire a pistol, 1 to move here, 1 to take cover. So you can do as much as your points will allow you. And instead of it being actively grid-based, it's a little more free-form where you could walk around and, you have a certain amount of free movement there, especially before the battle starts. You can move however you'd like or move your folks all around however you like. But the really interesting thing about it is as soon as battle starts, even after the action points and all that in the XCOM style, you choose, hey, I'm going to shoot this opponent. It doesn't give you a percentage. It doesn't give you a mysterious, 99% it's going to hit, wink, but it's probably going to miss in that XCOM style. It actually zooms into an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter anytime you want to shoot. Which is super cool. So if you have a pistol out, you get about 5 shots with the pistol. And if you want to aim for the head and go for those extra critical shots, you can. Just know that they're on the move and that you might miss. Or if you have a sniper rifle out, you can use an extra action point to put on that slow-mo bullet time breathing sniper elite style shot. Cool. And really, really make it count. It was super, super cool. Still has a lot of bugs to work out, to be fair, even when I was playing it. I ran into a couple little issues there, but all things that are absolutely fixable, so I have no doubt it will before the final version came out. And even talking to the main one of the main developers there, who again, name escapes me, I'm sorry, but He said he was also working on before this Gears 5, I believe, and then he left that and started working on this. So if that tells you anything about the shooting and the cover and the third-person shooting aspect of it, like it has a little bit of that feel to it, that visceral, shooting aspect to it. Really, really fun in concept and really, really fun in execution. I'm definitely going to check this out when it actually releases, which maybe is later this year. I think they said don't quote them on that,
I
but
think maybe early access at some point later this year.
Yeah, something along those lines. So Every Day We Fight, definitely worth wishlisting there.
Jacob, did you get to check that one out?
No, but one of my colleagues, Katie, who does the podcast, she checked it out and she very much explained it this way. And all I could think of, if you remember Codename Steam on 3DS, made by Intelligent Systems, that's not a great game, but like that's the vibe I think it was kind of going for.
No,
that's
a good one.
There's a little bit of that sort of like takeaway that I had where I am in love with the concept and in love with the overall idea, not so in love with the execution of it all so far. They still have so much time to work on it. I also kept calling it a completely different name every single time we talked about it all weekend because Every Day We Fight for some reason was not landing with me. So it was just like the things we carried, why I wake up.
You're walking around being like, have you played Everything Everywhere All at Once? Great game.
Oh, this is your every night I sleep. I don't.
Now that you mention it, I do. Yeah.
Bob, what is your wait?
Sorry, Bob.
I'm gonna put a note in there to add a rattlesnake noise.
Add an actual rattlesnake noise.
133. Okay.
That's good.
Bob, start us off for the final round.
That's so tough. I have so many honorable mentions, but I think the one I'm going to go with here, just because it covers a lot of bases, is pins. Pins. So many pins.
I said that was illegal. You tell me a single pin.
Nope. You can't stop me. I can't be stopped. Yeah, I have a massive pin collection. Enamel, buttons, lapel pins of all sorts, and any PAX, any Comic-Con, any anime con of any sort that I've ever attended is just pin heaven. It's just, you go through and you find even obscure ones, stuff you know, stuff you don't know. It's delightful. So just some choice ones here, even though this is not a video podcast. The main character of what's the name of this?
Rightfully Barry
Arms. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So I talked to the devs on, and they described the full game, and I was like, whoa, fellas, we're Barry in the lead. You have a bear in a spacesuit. That's all you need to describe this game as, and you have 100 wish lists on Steam already. We have a Lich from D&D sipping tea, which I very much enjoy. This one is from actually another game from Backpack Hero, one of the main adventurers there, a little pixel frog. Backpack Hero being the game that's essentially the RE4 inventory system as an entire game. It's just based around that backpack system. So you go into fights, you get 5 items, but you can only fit 3 in your bag, and you have to sort it. And as you level up, you increase the size of your bag, and you get items that will say like, your adjoining weapons next to this in your bag will gain +2 damage. So now it matters how you lay them out to maximize the amount of damage done. Really cool.
It's in early access now. It looks super cool.
I played that as well. It's quite a bit of fun. Some owls with swords, because why not? That's just super cute. A beholder from D&D, but all their hearts are eyes.
Oh my god.
Or all their eyes are hearts. And then my favorite one, which is just an octopus with samurai swords. Because that's so cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I got
Bob.
an abundance of pins.
You're gonna have to take a picture of at least all of the ones that you brought up just now.
Theater
so
of the
we can-
mind. Theater of the
No,
mind,
yeah.
Preston. I didn't.
But we can at least tweet about it.
These people think I bought pins. I didn't buy a single one. We're just making this up for the show, man.
No, you just rattled some coins.
Yeah,
around. It's just-
ASMR, man. You just No, I'll take a photo.
I think that's one of the weirdest parts of PAX to me is the pin economy and like
Yeah.
the
Penny
way,
Arcade, baby.
yeah, and like, but the way that like you'll have the pin jacket guy. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and I don't know what his name is, but he has a jacket that is just covered in pins. It's like a full duster that is completely covered in pins. And at PAX West, at the end of the night, one night, he just had it on the ground, laid out. Another guy walks up with a binder full of pins, and they're just going through and trading. And what it was like the guy with the jacket had like 4 of the same pin. And so he was like, okay, I'll give you 2 of these and you give me 1 of those. And like, it was specifically a trading economy that was built all around the pins that are available. Jacob, I don't know if you were there early enough. There was a Zelda pin that was being given away early.
That, and there was like a Pokemon pin as well that like people were super excited
Yeah.
for in the Pokemon TCG area. I think it was Fuecoco, maybe. There was a
My boy
Fuecoco pin.
Coco.
I missed it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the new starters. They were giving those pins away, and people were excited because they're the official like Penny Arcade are
Yeah,
ones that are like
super nice.
affiliated with your friend Jerry.
Good friend.
Yeah.
Jerry would have started that.
I should have
Yes.
asked him to hold one for me. Yeah.
But no, that has been a thing for like 10 years. But I'm just shocked every PAX that it's still a thing. Because
Yeah.
arguably, like, and I don't mean to like, talk ill of your friend Jerry, but like Penny Arcade is not at the level of prominence it was. I
Agreed.
think that's just
Yeah,
fair to
true.
say. But Penny Arcade is still a big thing.
Yeah. I honestly forget that PAX is put on by Penny Arcade more regularly.
Because it's
than
not
I think of
anymore, because
as-
it's Reed Pop.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
True.
But it's associated.
Yes.
But yeah, the pin economy is nutty. And so next time, Bob, you go, get yourself a duster, buddy. Put some pins on there. Start trading.
They call me Revolver Pinsalot. I have so many walking up and
What are you buying?
So,
also
yeah,
I can buy a Sprigatito pin for $40 on eBay.
That's the one. That's the one.
Tito.
okay.
Oh no! What
It wasn't Fuecoco, it was Sprigatito.
what wormhole have you opened here, Jacob? Of all these pins that I missed out
no.
on?
Sorry. Don't Google
I was
Penny
about to lose
Arcade.
2 or
Don't do
3
it. Don't do it.
paychecks.
Yep.
Oh, there's the Zelda one.
Yeah.
Ryan, let's move away from the pins. Hurry before Bob gets lost.
I'm going back to video games for my 5th round pick. This is a game that is already out in early access. I've already played like 10 or 15 hours of in early access. I'm really digging it. This is Death Roads Tournament. This is a card-based roguelite in a Mad Max-esque world. In my mind, I've been calling it Slay the Tire because
Good. Very
because you
good.
have different starting cars and different drivers, so it's all about getting weapons to be able to attack in front of you, on the side of you, behind you, in different AOE patterns. You have spike strips that drop and will across all 5 lanes, but only hit 1 or 2 spaces behind you. Or you could get like a crane attachment on the back that attacks in like a T pattern, or you could get the lasers that attack 3 lines back. Or there's all sorts of different things. Cars have obviously different health ratings, different defenses, different handling. Everything is done based on handling. Cards cost handling to use. When you run out of handling, you go into a skid, which there's this separate skid deck that throws you into random maneuvers around the map. You skid a number of times based on what gear you're in when you skid. So if you're really high up in 5th gear, you're going to pull 5 random cards that could throw you into a wall and damage you 20 health damage and just really mess you up. Or you could get really lucky and just bash into your opponent 4 or 5 more times on a skid. There's one build, and this was the first build I tried at the show, that's based entirely around bashing and losing your handling. Like one of the driver's cards does 99 damage to your handling, so you always drop to 0 handling. So the whole idea is to get your gear as high up as you can every turn, get in the middle of some enemies, and then drain your handling and pray for good skids. It's been a lot of fun. I've unlocked 2 more. I've beaten 2 of the mini bosses. I haven't made it all the way to the end of a run yet. It is on the stiff side challenge wise. But man, when you nail the combination of maneuvering and attacking just right and can wipe out a screen in 1-2 rounds, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah, the level of polish that they made between West and East is pretty incredible. And I think they were being very modest about it. And I also didn't want to push the point of just like, no, but West, it was not good. Now it's good. I didn't want to really like hammer that home, but it was surprising how much sort of, I don't know, that's like what, 5 months of dev time, of course. And so they were able to put a lot into it, and it feels like it's ready to go. Like they have so much more that they were talking about adding. And I'm really excited for the future of that game because they have a bunch of stuff, in the works for early access to where it doesn't feel like they're putting it out and it's just going to be kind of like left out on the vine. They're really, really going to be supporting this for a long time. So it looks good. Jacob, your final pick of the Draft Punks.
This is so hard.
PAX.
This is so hard. I shouldn't have blown one of my picks on flour, man. Holy moly. I regret it now. You know what? 1 or 2 of these are out. Actually, I have 4 choices, and 3 of them are out in April, so I'm going to pick the one that's out in June. Let's talk about Goodbye Volcano High.
Ooh, I'm hearing a lot of buzz about this game.
I'm excited to talk to you about this. Okay, go.
Okay. How much do we know about Goodbye Volcano High?
Well,
me personally, not that much, I'll say.
Okay. Did y'all play like We Are OFK?
I did not.
Okay. Have you played Life is Strange?
Yes.
Okay. So it is Life is Strange. I don't mean to like put it in a box, but it is an adventure game, but it's really based around music. You play as like dinosaur-esque high school students who the game starts, and this isn't a spoiler, this is in the first like 2 minutes. You find out that it is the last year before a meteor crashes on the earth and kills everyone. And so it's your last year of high school. You don't know this going in, but like it's the last year. You're going to high school. You're a senior, and you're just trying to figure out like how to live your life. You're in a band. You want your music to succeed
and stuff.
Yeah, you got dreams. And your dream is to win the battle of the band. And so it's an adventure game. It's a talkie game, but like it's angsty and it's queer and it's like it seems like the music seems super good, and the team at Co-op. Because it kind of was announced years ago. Like, I want to say at the start of the pandemic, then it went quiet.
Yeah.
Because they didn't start over, but they kind of started from scratch in a lot of respects. And so it's out in June. From what I played, I'm like, if you liked any of the games I mentioned, Life is Strange, We Are OFK, you're going to love this. Except it's got an indie vibe. If you played We Are OFK, it was electronic. This is indie music. Like, if you like the Beaches, you're going to love the music in this.
It's amazing.
It's great. Did anyone else play it here? Sorry, I was talking for so long.
No, you're good. The music is amazing. Like that.
Yeah.
That opening song, and then like it's kind of got a rhythm game that I couldn't quite figure out exactly how that worked. But that goes along with it, and then you play out like a good minute and a half of the song during this rhythm game, and it's just excellent. And it's this very comfortable, airy sort of sound. I loved it.
Yeah, and it's voiced by, the main character is Lachlan Watson, who they're in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. And so like the voice talent's pretty great too.
Earlier, whenever I was talking about Shumi Come Home, I said that it has that Gen Z sort of conversation and slang throughout.
Yep.
This actually, it feels like teenagers talking, but it doesn't use any sort of Gen Z slang. It does not rely on being modern, contemporary, youthful. It just feels youthful. It's timelessly youthful, and it works so well. Like they nailed angsty conversation, like you were saying. And it's just like this frustration where at one point you as the main character are getting hyped for the Battle of the Bands, and your friends are kind of like worried about their own things, as teenagers are gonna be. One of them is, oh my gosh, One of them is like flunking. The other one just got back from a etymology camp and is super stoked to like just talk about bugs. And they just kind of have their own passions now. Whereas you as a character have been like working all summer on building out a song and you want to show it off. And they're just kind of like, this doesn't really feel like our music. That whole conversation feels so honest in this like fear of showing something you made to your friends and wondering what their feedback is going to be. And you have options throughout. These options don't necessarily change the conversation in any super meaningful way. You're still going to end up at the same point as far as I could tell. Of course, we didn't get to really see how it would branch out, but it felt like I was still choosing my honest reaction in this moment. Like there was enough difference in the reactions that it felt honest.
Writing things is hard.
Yes.
For a game like Life is Strange, the first one, which I love a lot, it still at times feels like a French studio that tried to write America and just watched the OC and nothing else, where this feels like legit.
Yeah.
And I love just the premise of this game. Like teenagers in high school in a rock band who think like if we don't win the Battle of the Bands, the world is going to end. And then in this case, they're dinosaurs and a meteor's coming, so the world is actually ending. Like that is ultimate teenage angst, like boiled down to a concept. That's very, very smart.
So that's out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC in June. So
love it.
Yeah, right around the corner. And I think whenever they first showed it off at a PlayStation State of Play, just as a quick trailer, immediately I feel like there was a lot of weight and pressure and excitement around because of the beautiful art style.
Yeah.
Everyone's just, I need to know more. And it seems like they're living up to that from what I understood what the game would be and what we got to play.
Yeah,
like
especially given the tumultuous like development that they've had.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff that has happened that like just Google it. It's awful. But I'm glad that the game's coming out. They did Gnog before that, so like they put out things with a bar of quality. So I'm excited.
Yeah. The Goodbye Volcano High penultimate pick. My pick. Last pick of all right. I have written down here. It's a lot more general than it sounds. I have Hanging with Bob for beers, but really, really, it comes down to spending time with my friends and hanging out and just having beers with people that you never really get to see.
Got him.
That's too heartfelt. I couldn't let you actually get away with that. That's very nice.
It was, again, like Ryan was saying earlier, we're all online friends and we all are like part of these various communities. And of course, Draft Punks being a specific one that we've kind of met through. But being able to meet up and just go out and have some beers. And it's not like, it doesn't feel like a big thing. It feels like old friends meeting up who have known each other for a while already. It doesn't feel like this awkward sort of getting to know each other or anything. And it just was fun. It was really, really cool to be able to see everyone hang out. And Jacob, next year, we're getting that beer because we missed it out west and we missed it at east.
Yeah,
just one?
I'm just avoiding you. That's really the answer.
Kept seeing us at the different bars.
I was like, yeah, great, okay, bye.
How does it keep seeing us?
Jacob, can I join you in avoiding Preston next year?
Yes. Let's get a beer and avoid them together.
All right,
going to cross off friends with beers with friends.
Hey, we closed down that hotel bar. I mean, we
really
stayed
did.
there till they shut down.
Yeah.
No, that I got it
for better.
I gotta echo your sentiments. It was so much fun. We literally just hung out for like, I don't know, 3 hours after the last panel and just drank outside and just told stories. And then I drunkenly stumbled up to my hotel room and ordered way too much Chinese food at like 11:30 p.m. while watching Shark Tank because that
sounds ideal.
That's
Okay,
PAX,
so-
baby.
We were in such a rush to get to that panel that we only had apps at the bar that we went to before the panel. So then we didn't eat at all
Nothing.
until the very end of the night. Ryan and I go home, we Uber Eats a pizza, and it is one of the worst pizzas I have ever had in my life. It was so not like, it did not satisfy that late night craving in any way. I was so disappointed. But yeah, Jacob, I mean, again, and like you were saying earlier, it's sort of like a bunch of friends coming together. I mean, just the panel, both panels that you hosted, seems like good friends that have been working together and collaborating for so long. And of course, that's spread out all over the US. So I'm sure it was the same, right?
Well, yeah, there were some folks on that panel that I'd never met before in my life. Like I cold emailed Janet Garcia because I'm like, I'm a fan of your work. Can you want to do the GameCube thing? And she was like very cordial and was like, yeah, of course. But beyond that, like Flora, who was on the video game trivia panel, Flora and I have been talking online for like the better part of, I want to say 3 or 4 years now, and I'd never met her in real life. So it was that weird thing, and I'm sure y'all have this too, where it's like seeing someone's human body for the first time is like weird. Yeah. I'm like, are you tall? Are you small? Are you short? Like, but then after that, you just fall into like, oh yeah, we're just having a Discord conversation again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, that was the friends you meet along the way is like one of the best parts of PAX.
And I felt like everyone does come together as a community to just share in on the love. And so anyone that you happen to just chat it up with while you were there or have a beer near and you start talking about the things you've seen at PAX, everyone is just like super excited to talk.
Yeah. I remember like, and my friend Travis will tell you this, like I used to be the guy who in the lines for panels would just talk to the person in front of me and he'd be like, how do you do that? I'm like, because everyone here's a nerd and you can say words and find something you have in common.
Yeah.
So.
Also, shout out Teriyaki House in Boston. Excellent chicken wings, excellent salt pepper shrimp, and they deliver late. I woke up with shrimp lo mein on my nightstand, and I don't remember ordering it. So
a successful PAX.
It was a night. Well, that is our draft for the evening. I think one of the main things that we do need to do first, before we get into it. You okay? Yeah. All right.
Cabinets.
Okay. Cabinets, man. They come out of nowhere. My wife had a cabinet fall on her while we were recording our other podcast the other night. And so
not a joke.
It was just not a joke. But okay. Let's go through. I think we'll do honorable mentions first. Okay. Ryan, start us off. What are your honorable mentions? Let's run through them with minor.
Begone Beast.
That's a good one.
Left 4 Dead meets Mario Party in a 4-player co-op spooky, like it was very fun. I'm very excited to play that game. There talks about asymmetrical difficulty so that parents can play with kids and everyone can have a challenge that feels acceptable. Is very attractive, but even I think just playing with friends, it looks like a very good time. Our demo time was very good. And there's already a video on the Draft Punks YouTube of us interviewing the developers.
Yeah, buddy.
Immigration right there.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the plug.
I was going to ask you the name, but I'll just go on that Draft Punks YouTube channel.
Tandemi.
Castle of Alchemists that I got to play while you were over playing Goodbye Volcano High. It's a Dwarf Fortress-like, part tower defense, part hero battling, top-down 2D space. It was very fun. I've played the demo an hour or two at home. I'm looking forward to that game being a fun, just fill time. It's not going to be something I sink probably 40 hours into in a sitting, but it'll be good for those times where you have an hour or two, or, you're just kind of in between games. Brian would be upset with us if we didn't mention Arcadian Atlas was there, and it was good.
Yep.
Yep. But it wasn't good for Preston because he lost immediately.
Very, very early in the demo.
And this would have been an honorable mention just for me, but I got to go to dinner with Steve on the Discord. He's a good buddy of mine, lives in the Boston area. We went to Fire and Ice. It was wild. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this place, but it's a raw buffet, basically. Like, you get a bowl and you pick up a bunch of raw meats and then stand around this round grill where 8 chefs are just cooking everybody's things, one right next to each other.
Dope.
It was super cool. It was a super cool experience. And it was, like, all things considered, not that expensive. I had a couple drinks and the dinner was like 40-something bucks. It was, like, not that expensive, all things considered. Yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Bob.
Well, I got 30XX, Mega Man style, described as a roguelike. I feel like anything's a roguelite at this point, so I'm not sure. But it's more Mega Man. It's Mega Man without using the name Mega Man. It's fantastic. Sequel to 20XX, which is already out there, so definitely check that out. Also, when I walked by, there was a man in full Mega Man cosplay playing the 30XX demo.
Yeah. We got a picture with him too.
Which was like, I just wanted to tap him on the shoulder and be like, very on brand. Nicely done.
Yeah. Which their big thing that they were showing off, by the way, was a creator mode, much like Mario Maker, but for Mega Man games. Right. And so it's a whole new addition update they're adding soon. So that's pretty cool for it if you like Mega Man.
Very cool. Yeah, I talked to the music director of the game, so I was like, okay, what's your favorite Mega Man songs then? Like, prove to me you know music. And he was like, oh, done, and started rattling them off. And I was like, all right, now we can bond. I like this. What was another one? ODR Hockey Heroes. Just kind of the best parts of like NHL 94 mixed with like NFL Blitz. Just like a beat 'em up, like cartoonish hockey game where you could just like fighting mini games, beat 'em ups, and you know your goalkeeper's like 400 pounds and jacked and muscled to the sky, and like everyone else on the team is like, you know, a 90-year-old granny. Like it's just super cartoonish and
what's that called?
ODR Hockey Heroes. I've been told
there were like 3 hockey games on the floor this year.
Yeah,
so
very well represented. Treewood Studios. I got a sticker. My other honorable mentions was the PAX East Tinder panel with Janet Garcia, Kenneth Shepard. I think it's up on the Normandy FM podcast feed if you want to check it out. They basically played rounds of Tinder with video game characters, and it was an absolute hoot. So funny. And the last one I had for honorable mentions, and I gotta remember the name of the place, MJ O'Connor's and how they pour their whiskey shots, because that was like a triple shot at best. So shout outs to the bartenders over there. But
Jacob,
I'll just do 3 really quick. The first is called Night in the Attic. It is a VR game from Mighty Yell. Their first game was The Big Con. Imagine the concept of like a labyrinth game, that little marble where you like try and get it through the holes, but like the right hole, not the wrong hole. You know the issue. Don't go in the wrong hole.
I don't
know what we're doing here.
Nicholas.
Yeah, but it takes that labyrinth like game and turns it into your princess is the ball, and you have to make your way through a bunch of like different environments. But also beyond that, in the attic, which is not in the labyrinth puzzle, there's also like meta narrative stuff happening in the attic as well. So I'm not usually a VR guy, but this game was cool, and I love the guys over at Mighty Yell. So they're Canadian, so I had to just shout them out there. Mm-hmm. A Night in the Attic. It's literally out in like 10 days. So,
and is that Night NIGHT?
That is KNGHT.
Okay.
Slay the Princess from Black Tabby Games.
That I kept seeing things about.
I'm hearing a lot about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a dev team. Abby Howard, who was actually part of Penny Arcade's Strip Search back in the day, which is like their show to find the next big comic artist. I think she was runner-up for that show, but it's hand-drawn with pencil and then scanned in, and it is an adventure game that may have like Stanley Parable-ish vibes. I don't want to say more. There's a demo on Steam. You should definitely try it. It was like one of the favorite things I played. And then finally, the last one is Varney Lake. Varney Lake, Chorus Worldwide. They have great taste. They find like the craziest stuff usually from Asia that just is cool and fun. And Varney Lake is like old school adventure game, like think DOS style adventure game, but about potentially kids, and there's maybe vampires as well. This one's out literally in 2 weeks as well. So that's Varney Lake, VARNEY. Those are my 3 shoutouts.
Hey.
Sweet. My shout outs have all been covered. I also got to hang out with an old friend that I hadn't seen in like 5 years. Shout out Jesse. That was a great time. And other than that, all the video games are done, and that is our draft. Jacob, will you restate your five picks?
Yes, my 5 picks, starting with number 1, is sorry. Oh, I'm this way. It's horizontal. My 5 picks were Flower Bakery and Cafe in Boston. Get yourself a coffee and a nice sandwich next time you go to Boston for PAX. The Mage Seeker, a League of Legends story, Mud from Pillbox Games, it's a board game, Wrestle Story from TikTok Games, and Goodbye Volcano High from Co-op.
Awesome. Ryan.
My draft list for PAX things was the video game trivia panel hosted by just some lovely gentlemen from Canada. Name escapes me.
I thought you were going to say trivial for a second. I'm like, yes.
Some trivial man from Canada.
Pacific Drive, Salvage Deep Space, Giving Alana Pierce a Tim Tam, and Death Road's Tournament.
Bob.
If that Alana Pierce story isn't a YouTube clip, I don't know what is. I drafted the Phantasy Star 4 vinyl record. Also, I suppose the Mega Man Legends 2 one, just because it's too dang good. Infernax, a game by someone. Name escapes me right now. Berserk Studio, that's who it was. Rabble Games, and the board game Sparks, which I got for free due to just someone's pure generosity. Every Day We Fight, and pins, all across the board.
Pins to days. My picks were Demon School, Shumi Come Home, Meeting Jerry. I'm sorry, what's his last name?
Holkins.
Jerry Holkins. Sorry, we're on a first name basis. So
Yeah, so
Homeseek, and here it says hanging with Bob for beers, but it's really more about just meeting up with friends and having a good time. All right. We always end our show with voting for who we think has the best list among our other contestants. So that way we can have our vote starting off with, whatever these votes are. So I will start off the vote, and sorry, guys. I mean, I just got to go with Ryan. He saw so much of the things that like I was interested in, of course, like Pacific Drive, and Jacob, the video game trivia panel was actually my first pick as well. And this is a lot of it has to do with don't let it get to your head. It's about the community. And it just,
thank you.
it felt, it was nice. Felt like you were part of something, you know? So, yeah, Ryan gets my pick.
Thank you, Preston.
Ryan, who gets your pick?
I'm going to be voting for Jacob this week. Anything with food related in there, and he got Wrestle Story, which was probably going to be my 5th round pick.
Yep. Jacob, who gets your pick?
I'm going to vote for you, Preston, only because I'm not going to vote for my own panel because, like, that seems narcissistic of me. But Demon School was honestly super dope when I played it at PAX West, and your Jerry Holkins story is, like, god tier, so 1 point for you. I just met Jerry from Penny York. Get out of here.
Shout out, Jerry. You know, maybe one day you'll be on the show, too. Maybe one day. Bob, who are you choosing?
Preston, despite one of your picks being hanging with me, I'm voting for Jacob. Wrestle Story is too good. Goodbye Volcano High, I hear nothing but great things about. Mud, honestly, I was very close to just purchasing it during this recording, and Mage Seeker might get me to care about League of Legends, so yeah, strong picks across the board.
Yeah, I'm excited for Mage Seeker. Well, Bob, before you go, do you have anything that you would love to plug?
I do have something I would love to plug. If you're not sick of my voice already, because I think legally every podcast I'm on has to be over 2 hours long. I just can't stop talking. I have a podcast of my own that I'm very proud of called 99 Questions. It's me interviewing a bunch of folks, some in the comedy world, some in the D&D world. If you know Brennan Lee Mulligan from Dimension 20, Sam Reich from College Humor, I've talked to a bunch of folks in the gaming world, people we've talked about today. Name them all. Jesse Vitale, I was able to talk to. Dan Reichert, Mary Kish,
Janet Garcia.
Ben Hansen, Janet Garcia from the panel we were talking about. Not Alana Pierce, not yet. And I got some big ones coming up as well. I don't know when this is exactly coming out, but my next... then subscribe this weekend. Will be my PAX East Spectacular, where I ran around interviewing folks from PAX and asking them some of the titular 99 questions. We had a really fun time. And then I got some big ones coming up after that. If you're familiar with hip hop, or Open Mike Eagle, a really big up and coming rapper. I got to talk to him for like an hour and a half, and he could not be a cooler guy. And yeah, I got to ask him about all the wrestling references in all of his songs, and it rules.
Super sick.
So look out for that.
That is 99 questions.
Found wherever podcasts
with Bob Buel.
are found.
Yeah. Jacob, what about you?
I do too many things. I host the Left Behind Game Club. Yeah, so I'll be quick. I host a show called Left Behind Game Club. It's a video game book club podcast. That's where a lot of our PAX coverage will be, if you will. Audio versions of the 2 panels that I did will also be there. I host a seasonal show called Cutscenes. It's a video game, movie, and TV podcast. We just finished The Last of Us. We were one of 1,000 shows that cover The Last of Us, but dang it, we were definitely top 100. And then video game trivia is something that I do on YouTube. I think the best place to find all the things that I do is on Twitter at Jacob McCourt. That's where I post all the things that I do. So thanks for having me. It was fun to talk shop with y'all. Yeah,
absolutely. And thanks to all 3 of you for being on. Ryan, what do you got to plug?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so used to working very one-on-one that I just almost forgot that you're actually a guest.
It's okay. We've done a lot of stuff together lately, Preston. Yeah, I mean, check out. We've got a lot of PAX coverage over on the Friendly Fire show. Episode just came out, episode 2, where Preston and I were on talking PAX. I've got some audio podcast up of interviews I took with people scattered around the show floor that was a fun listen. Some streams on the YouTube channel, Friendly Fire GameSpot, of demos and whatnot after the show. But really, as we come close to the end of this over a year-long project that we has just been a labor of love from almost everyone on this podcast being a part of it, Jacob, I would actually love to get you on for one of these episodes before we finish off.
Yeah!
Gotta Rank 'Em All, the show where myself and my co-host Chris are ranking every single one of the Pokemon. Our list is in the thousands already. Yeah, we're closing in on the end of that era. At least it'll go on pause until another Pokemon game comes out and there's more Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
It's a heck of a show.
And as for the Draft Punks, we of course have our new YouTube channel that is very fresh, where we are doing videos for many, if not all, of the games that we have discussed tonight. Well, at least that Ryan and I saw. In addition to that, we are regularly streaming there. We also still stream on Twitch a little bit, but mostly I've been streaming on YouTube lately. So if you haven't subscribed yet, those to subscribe, we really appreciate it. And other than that, thank y'all so much for talking all about PAX. And I really hope I'll be able to hit West up. If not, we'll be seeing y'all at PAX East next year. And Bob, you know it. You love it. Go ahead and give us the outro. Just off the top of your head.
Well, till next time, young snake travelers. Be good to each other. Be good to each other. And most importantly, be good to each other.
Be good to each other.
That's it. Yeah,
You got it. You nailed
that's
it.
what it says in the script.
What's the first
All
one?
right. Be happy.
Be happy. Dang it. That's the one thing I couldn't
I was
think.
trying to smile for you.
Be good, be good, be good. Thank you.
Be good. Have a good one.